This is Euronews Now. I'm Helena Humphrey. Here are your top stories. As Boris Johnson bows out, the UK's Conservative Party will get a new leader today. Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak will become the next Prime Minister after months of turmoil. Countries unveil new energy plans after Russia's Gazprom announces the indefinite shutdown of a key pipeline, deepening Europe's energy crisis. And the euro falls to a new 20-year low against the US dollar as gas prices go up.
Well, I am somebody in every
job. For over a month, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak have been crisscrossing the United Kingdom in the race to replace Boris Johnson as leader of the Conservative Party and, therefore, Prime Minister. Results will be announced at 12:30 local time. The Foreign Secretary Liz Truss is the frontrunner among her party's members. After voting closed, she pledged to act within a week to tackle soaring energy bills and rampant inflation. She'd also proposed a big package of tax cuts worth tens of billions of euros.
How do you feel about taking over in these circumstances?
Up against her is the former Treasury Chief Rishi Sunak. He's emphasised waiting until inflation falls before launching tax cuts and has talked up his record of public help to individuals and businesses during the coronavirus pandemic as a sign of sound economic management. After today's announcement, the winner will officially take the reins at 10 Downing Street tomorrow, inheriting a tricky economic situation.
Germany has announced a huge new aid plan to combat skyrocketing energy costs and inflation, which will total 65 billion euros in support. Energy prices have soared since the start of the war in Ukraine, and Europe is trying to wean itself off Russian energy. Kyiv urges Europe to stand firm, even as Russia's state-owned energy company stops gas supplies to Western Europe via the Nord Stream 1 indefinitely, citing equipment issues. It's prompted Finland and Sweden to announce emergency plans, offering billions of euros in liquidity guarantees.
The fact is that if we don't act soon, this could lead to serious disruptions in the financial system in the Nordic and Baltic countries. In the very worst case, we could fall into financial crisis. This is because electricity producers risk not being able to secure the necessary liquidity to deal with the consequences of Nord Stream 1.
Sweden plans to offer more than 23 billion euros in liquidity guarantees, designed to help companies struggling to meet the surging collateral requirements needed to trade electricity. Finland is aiming to offer 10 billion.
The recent strong price fluctuations in the electricity derivatives market require the government to take quick measures to ensure market stability. The government's Economic Policy Ministerial Committee has advocated for the government and parliament a 10 billion euro stability mandate for companies engaged in electricity production in Finland to cover their acute liquidity needs.
Its Prime Minister is also calling for measures at a European level to stabilise the market as a whole.
France plans to restart the nation's entire nuclear fleet by early next year. One of the largest producers of nuclear power in the world, the state-owned EDF, is trying to avoid disruption to its energy supply over the winter at all costs. The Minister of Energy Transition says the company was on board with the schedule.
As you know, 32 reactors are shut down, some for stress corrosion and others for routine maintenance. EDF has undertaken to restart all the reactors this winter. We are monitoring the situation closely with weekly updates. We are being especially vigilant to ensure that this schedule is kept.
According to EDF's projections, 27 nuclear reactors must restart by the end of December, followed by 5 others between early January and mid-February 2023. However, many question the company's ability to do it, especially for the 12 reactors stopped for stress corrosion. Repairing them requires long and complex operations. The president of the Nuclear Safety Authority warned that problems could also be detected, leading to new closures. The Prime Minister Elizabeth Bourne has urged EDF's management to find solutions quickly to avoid having to restart coal-fired plants this winter. This drop in production, coupled with a reduced use of Russian gas in thermal power plants, continue to put pressure to increase prices. The wholesale cost of the megawatt has been multiplied by 10 in 1 year, reaching €1,000.
Another week and yet more pain for the euro. The single European currency was trading below 99 US cents this morning, its lowest value in 20 years. And this is the main culprit. Russia announced that the Nord Stream gas pipeline, which directly supplies Germany, would be shut indefinitely. Worries surround the EU economy as gas and electricity prices look set to remain high. Officially, the decision was due to a pipeline leak that the Russian state-owned company Gazprom found. But the EU has said that Moscow is weaponizing energy due to the bloc's support for Ukraine. Meanwhile, the US dollar is riding strong as the American central bank, the Fed, tightens its monetary policy. The European Central Bank is now in a difficult position due to high inflation and a possible recession on the horizon. Analysts expect it to raise interest rates after a meeting on Thursday.
The first group of soldiers from Germany have arrived in Lithuania as part of NATO's plan to beef up its eastern flank. As Russia's war in Ukraine nears 7 months, around 100 armoured infantry troops and up to 40 military vehicles will expand the command element of the 41st Tank Brigade.
The forward command element will stay here permanently in Lithuania. Responsibility for the Armored Infantry Brigade 41 will be until the summer of next year, and I'm then convinced that we will then rotate it with another brigade out of Germany.
Nearby in the Baltic Sea, the first US Navy amphibious assault ship in at least 20 years takes part in international exercises. Its mission is to promote safety and security in the region. It's been training for months with Swedish and Finnish militaries alongside other US Navy ships.
The telltale signs of white phosphorus, strewn across the ground. Allegedly used against a small Ukrainian village on the outskirts of Kharkiv. While not entirely banned, white phosphorus is heavily restricted and illegal to use against targets in civilian areas. On seeing the damage, the head of the local municipality said, "The occupying forces have been going wild. The number of shells they have fired over 3 days on local towns, they haven't fired that much since the first days of the war. What impresses is that this night, the enemy uses cluster phosphorus munitions on civilian infrastructure. 16 homes were destroyed by the strikes. Fortunately, no residents were harmed, with many already being evacuated. Yet 1,000 people still live here, not far from the front lines." Canada is reeling after a stabbing rampage in Saskatchewan province that's left 10 people dead and 15 wounded. The attacks took place at multiple locations within an indigenous community, the James Smith Cree Nation, and in the village of Weldon. Police say they're searching for 2 suspects, Damien and Miles Sanderson, who are both in their 30s.
The Saskatchewan Divisional Operations Communication. So we have 10 confirmed deceased individuals. We have 13 active crime scenes that we are investigating. So at some of those crime scenes, there may not have been a deceased individual. There could have been injured individuals who were not deceased. The priority right now is to locate them and make sure that we have them in custody so that we can ensure the public of their safety.
This is one of the deadliest acts of violence Canada has ever seen. And according to police, the suspects remain armed and dangerous.
You're watching Euronews now. We're back after a short break, so don't go anywhere.